You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks. Y'all know what time it is.
I'm white. I got you, girl.
Illegally selling water without a permit
on my property.
Whoa!
Hey!
Give us your ID.
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
So a lot of folks were mad that I did not spend yesterday any time talking about the Meghan Markle, Prince Harry interview with Oprah. Why? Because I don't give a damn about the royal family. I really don't. I didn't give a damn about their wedding. I didn't care about Kate and that other. Who's she married to? What's that dude name? Y'all know what's that? What's his? Y'all Pound? Y'all know the dude? The dude? Oh, William. That's right. I ain't give a damn about Pippa. I ain't care about none of them. Okay, I don't understand why Americans are fascinated with the royal family. I really don't. So it didn't matter to me. Okay, and I know I got sisters sitting talking about, oh, how the sister was treated and the mental, y'all, here's the whole deal. Okay, you can say all that sort of stuff, but don't try to question talking about, do I stand with black women? Because when I had the sister on 2 weeks ago who got fired by the medical school, a whole bunch of y'all didn't say nothing. Crickets. Crickets. Okay? Yesterday, we had the mama on and the kid who was forced to drink the urine in Plano, Texas. Whole bunch of folks didn't say nothing, okay? Friday, I'm talking to St. Louis Circuit DA Kim Gardner. I've been standing with that sister since she got elected. So if y'all want to try that nonsense, how, oh, you ain't standing with the black woman, take that BS somewhere else, okay? Let's just be real clear. But I was absolutely pleased when I saw this video today.
They have had an overwhelming amount of negative press. You know, I watched the program yesterday, and yes, they had some great press around the wedding, but what press is going to trash someone's special day? There was bad press around the engagement, before the engagement, and everything that has followed since has been incredibly damaging, quite clearly, to Meghan's mental health and also to Harry. And I hear Piers say that, you know, William has gone through the same thing. But do you know what? Siblings experience tragedy in their life, and one will be absolutely fine and brush it off, and the other will not be able to deal with it so strongly. And that's clearly what has happened with Prince Harry in this situation. He walked behind his mother's coffin at a tender age in front of the globe. That is going to shape a young boy for the rest of his life. So I think that we need to all take a step back. And I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this programme. A number of times. And I understand that you've got a personal relationship with Meghan Markle, or had one, and she cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no, sorry.
So, do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe, not my own.
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
This is absolutely diabolical behaviour. I'm sorry, but Piers spouts off on a regular basis, and we all have to sit there and listen. 6:30 to 7 o'clock yesterday was incredibly hard to watch. Incredibly hard to watch.
If y'all want to see a punk ass, that was Piers Morgan. That truly qualified panel for Crazy Ass White People segment. And I love seeing, I couldn't stand Piers' ass when we were at CNN. Okay? It was to have him replace Larry King really was, I mean, he was awful. Okay? He was awful. All right? All he did was kiss Trump's ass left and right. He was on Celebrity Apprentice. So that's why I had nothing but glee when I saw this drop on Twitter today. Go to my iPad. Statement from ITV. Following discussions with ITV, Piers Morgan has decided now is the time to leave Good Morning Britain. ITV has accepted this decision and has nothing further to add. Walk your punk ass on out the door, Piers.
Oh, well.
Ben, I was cool. I was like, walk your ass out. Again, just, that's it. I'm out. That's it. I'm not taking this. Oh, see, if you are willing to talk trash on TV,
right,
take that ass whooping like a man. But no, little punk Piers, he ain't want to do that.
And he's taking a big risk, Roland, because it's not like he's particularly talented, right? He's the quintessential mediocre white man who just fails up.
Say, dog, I'm talking about if you want to see, look, I think Piers Morgan is more of a mediocre white man than Tucker Carlson. And that's a whole lot of mediocre white men right there.
He's like the spoiled milk of Tucker Carlson's, right? And for him to storm off the stage, he can dish it, but he can't take it. I mean, this was cathartic for me because I didn't want to cover that story either about the princess, except for the fact that down with the monarchy, like down with the crown, like I think this is a perfect moment to finish the revolution. But I digress. The point is, if nothing else good came out of it, there's one less mediocre white man on television. It's a win.
To watch it happen, Kelly, I was cracking up, laughing. And that's it. I'm done. I'm done. And just gonna walk your punk ass.
Well,
see, again, you can't talk shit on TV and then get mad when somebody tries to come back. See, that's why I tell people, that's why I ain't scared of none of these folk. That's why Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, Charlie Kirk, I don't give a damn. You can line their asses up, and I debate them all back to back. I remember when I was at CNN, they had I forgot who. I think it was Wolf. They were gonna have me, Bill Bennett, James Carville, and Bill Bennett. No, I'm not doing that. This is unfair. It's three against one. I was like, 3 against 1? What are you talking about? It's 3 against 1. No, I'm not gonna do it. So they dropped me. I got dropped, so it was Bill and Carville. I was like, dude, Bill Bennett, you a punk ass. I said, man, let me tell you something. It can be 5 of y'all, and I'm good. 5 of y'all against 1 of me is unfair for y'all. But see, that's how they are. So little Piers, take your little monkey ass on. Now you ain't got the morning shot. And so I did tweet the folks at Good Morning Britain. I said, y'all, I'll be happy to fly across the pond and fill in on the morning show if y'all want. Because, you know, they 6 hours ahead of us. So I can still do my show and then do the morning show as well at the same time. I loved it. I loved it.
I think it was really interesting to me. Like you, I laughed when I saw it, but I did a little digging, and my thing is he walked off because his coworker struck a nerve when he was talking about how Meghan was no longer talking to him. It's because they went on a date 6 years ago, and it just so happens that the car that Piers Morgan got for her to go home, she used it to go to a party that is the night, apparently, she met Prince Harry. So he is upset that he essentially ghosted her because after that night, he never heard from her again. So the fact that it's been 6 years of vitriol from Piers Morgan, just attacking this woman and her husband and anything associated with her, inviting her enemy, so to speak, onto his show just to attack her some more. And then for his own co-worker to call him out on all of that within 90 seconds, it was the epitome of poetic justice. Hey. Now, to your point about the royal family and you not wanting to cover it, that is entirely your prerogative. But I also understand why people were concerned, not just from an American perspective. I can't speak for every American, but the United Kingdom still has a great amount of control over the Commonwealth. They are the head of the Commonwealth.
Okay,
the Queen is still a head of state.
Right, but
and
right, she's a head of
most
state.
The Commonwealth is Black and people of color countries. The fact that they're like, it's no question that the monarchy has been racist. Like, that wasn't the issue. The issue is that it was revealed.
No, but I don't even care. No, deal. My biggest problem is the fascination in this country with the royals. It's irrelevant. Like, literally, it's irrelevant. We're not discussing rule. We're not discussing policy. No, we're talking about, okay, Meghan and Harry and what they went through. I'm telling you, I didn't care when they got married. I still don't care. That's cute, that's great, that's wonderful. I was kind of like, okay, whatever. I just didn't. So it's kind of like, whatever. But if this led to Piers Morgan walking his punk ass off the set, oh, yay. Because I appreciate that viral moment, Mustafa. I appreciate it.
Well, Piers Morgan's privilege was hurt. It was damaged a long time ago when Meghan was like, yeah, I'm going to go over here with the prince. So, of course, you know, he was hurt, and he allowed that to manifest all these years later. And when I saw it, all I could think about was that sister who went viral when she said, you
about to lose your job. You about to lose your job.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You about to lose your job. That I'm telling you, I had look. Piers Morgan is an absolute mediocre dude. And yeah, Piers, this is for you. Y'all go to my iPad.
How the fuck I act? Naturally. Ask anybody who know me.
What you in school for?
The fuck are you talking about? Why are you detaining me? You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. And you're detaining me for nothing. And you about to lose your job. You ain't even got no job because you training. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Is this shit worth you losing your job? Because you about to. Because you ain't got no reason. I could pass any sobriety test. Yes, when somebody's trying to detain me when I don't want to be detained for no goddamn reason, yeah, that's how the fuck I act. Naturally. Ask anybody who know me.
What you in school for?
The fuck are you talking about? Why are you detaining me? You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing.
That was for Piers. Again, the little walk up. That's it. I'm through. A mediocre white man, Piers Morgan. Right.
Gotta love white kids.
And Piers such a little whiny little punk. He blocked me on Twitter because he couldn't handle the criticism. No, he blocked me like a year or two ago. I'm like, you a punk ass. I'm like, you a punk ass. You know, I'm like, get your weak ass on, Piers. You know, like, I'm like, matter of fact, Piers, why don't you go date Bethany Frankel? Why don't you go? Matter of fact, I ain't even, you know, this wasn't even, like, I wasn't planning on doing this here, but I didn't even realize, because when you talked about mediocre, man, I could not help. I didn't realize when Omarosa, because apparently Bethany, she had to apologize because she was like, you know, she said something about Meghan. Again, everybody was all in their feelings, okay, whatever. But I was like, ooh, when you talk about what Omarosa said to her?
That was good.
Did y'all see that video?
Yes, sir.
It's one of my favorites.
You know what? Let me just go ahead. Let me just go ahead and find that video. I just want to just revel in because since we talking about, you know, mediocre people who on TV. This
Making
was,
them big checks and ain't got nan talent. to be
right.
found.
I mean, making big checks. Let me just go ahead. Y'all go to my iPad,
Let's
please.
be nice.
Y'all go to my iPad, please. Go to my iPad. Thank you very much. Let's roll it.
It's different for you and I. I'm an African-American woman. You get to walk around and be mediocre and you still get rewarded with things. We have to be exceptional to get anything. It's different for you and I. I'm an African-American woman. You get to walk around and be mediocre and you still get rewarded with things. We have to be exceptional to get anything. It's different for you and I. I'm an African-American woman. You get to walk around and be mediocre and you still get rewarded with things.
They're going to make the stank face. You know what? I got to see that again. Y'all, loop that thing again.
It's different for you and I. I'm an African-American woman. You get to walk around and be mediocre and you still get rewarded with things. We have to be exceptional to get anything. It's different for you and I. I'm an African-American woman. You get to walk around and be mediocre and you still get rewarded with things. We have to be exceptional to get anything.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Her face
Where's the
was
lie?
stuck.
She couldn't say
It was
anything.
great.
She couldn't say nothing.
Because she was right.
She was like,
Because she was right.
oh, damn, you right.
Because she was right. And her show ended not long after that interview. I think it was the
She's like, ooh, you right. You right.
Omarosa came in there and ended that woman's entire existence.
She was like,
My God.
ooh, you right. You right. I am mediocre. Ooh, you right. You right. Okay, y'all. Yeah, no more Good Morning Britain. Sorry, Piers. I feel for you. No, I don't.
Do you?
No, I don't.
Do you really?
No, I don't.
Martin Roland sitting up here lying to that man. He don't feel sorry for him.
No, I don't.
Joseph.
No, I don't, because I think you are absolutely a weak-ass man. You're weak. You're absolutely
He proved
weak.
that, though.
You're absolutely weak. And the walk-off, because here's the deal. I ain't never walked off a set. Because, see, when you black, you can't just walk off a set.
Right.
That's called self-firing.
Yeah.
We can't do that. Well, but again, that's what happens when you're mediocre. So Good Morning Britain. Call a brother. I'll be happy to walk over my African attire and guest host for a week or two across the pond. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends, go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I was not going to play this, but you know what? I mean, we were talking about mediocre white people on TV. I blame you, Ben, for that. Did y'all see this today? Is the panel still there?
I'm here.
Did y'all see this today? I just can't help myself. Roll it.
Experiment is the way to go, and if we have two American women, Meghan Markle and Oprah Winfrey, who are single-handedly finishing what George Washington and our revolutionary counterparts did, I'm all for it.
Okay.
The American experiment is the way to go. And if we have two American women, Meghan Markle and Oprah Winfrey, who are single-handedly finishing what George Washington and our revolutionary counterparts did, I'm all for it.
Okay.
The American experiment is the way to go.
What?
Okay, go back.
What George Washington and our revolutionary counterparts did, I'm all for it.
Okay.
The American experiment is the way to go. And if we have two American women, Meghan Markle and Oprah Winfrey, who are single-handedly finishing what George Washington and our revolutionary counterparts did, I'm all for it.
Okay.
She's the GOAT.
Yeah,
Whoopi,
you know,
that's what happens when you a Scorpio and your birthday is November 13th. Saying this, my brother, I'm November 14th. Mustafa, go ahead.
It's real simple. Whoopi was like, WTF? I mean, what you want? So.
Okay. The reason I love that answer, because Kelly, I've literally said the other, like, okay. Like, I'm supposed to give a shit? Like, okay, really? That was just perfect. That was perfect.
My face would be like this, how it is right now, if I were Whoopi. Like, I'm perplexed. I really am perplexed. The fact that she's really blaming two Black celebrities for the downfall of a 1,200-year-old monarchy because they helped out a friend. Like, I don't.
I am absolutely enjoying the petty, Ben. Call me petty all y'all want to, but Ben, I'm just trying to understand, Ben. You act like you don't know we do this, because like when I played the clip, you were like, "Oh my goodness, I cannot believe he is playing this clip."
I'm just enjoying it.
Dog, I mean, hold up, go back.
Okay.
The American
Go ahead,
experiment
Ben.
is the
All
way
right,
to
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Here's the pettiest part about it, right? I actually agree with what she's saying. Like, if two Black women can bring down the monarchy, oh my goodness, it's amazing. But how do you say something right and say it in such a repugnant way that Whoopi is like, okay, right? So she manages to say something good. I wish this could result with the end of the monarchy. It won't. But Meghan McCain is the quintessential mediocre person who only got the job because her daddy was a senator, and she constantly reminds us over and over and again. So she's making all those millions of dollars every single year to go up there and say the obvious things, or just to say something to get everybody's attention. So thank you, Whoopi, for being Whoopi. Just thank you for that moment. Thank you.
You know what? One more time.
And if we have two American women, Meghan Markle and Oprah Winfrey, who are single-handedly finishing what George Washington and our revolutionary counterparts did, I'm all for it.
Okay.
All right, that's it for us. Okay. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. Please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
No charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, huh?
selling water without a permit
On my property.
Whoa! Hey!
Give us your ID.
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
What the hell? The mother of a 5-year-old black kindergartner, y'all, wants her son's teacher fired after she says her son was told to stick his bare hands inside of a toilet to clean up feces. This happened at Crystal Hill Elementary School in Little Rock, Arkansas, and the Pulaski County Special School District says they're investigating the situation. The only explanation the teacher gave to the principal was that she was trying to teach the student how not to stop up the toilet. While the teacher has been placed on administrative leave, the family says they plan to press charges. What the hell? Monique.
It's child abuse. That's horrifying.
Robert, the white teacher
that's
didn't
not
go.
crazy. That's criminal.
She gave another explanation was, I don't really know why I did it.
And look,
No,
just
sir.
to Monique's point, that's beyond simply crazy. That it's a criminal act. That is a form of torture. That is something you would hear in the gulags of Russia. That's something you would hear in Guantanamo Bay. That's something you would hear from some of the worst dictators on earth. The concept of forcing a child into a situation like that. I hope they have gotten the child therapy, and we have to reevaluate. You know, I'm a big defender of good teachers. Teachers like this, we have to make sure that we weed out of the population and give these people the sorts of psychological evaluations they need before they're put in charge of raising our children. You know, children spend more time with their teachers often than they do with the parents, quite frankly. So we need to ensure we're getting the best quality people around them and not folks with clear psychological issues along these lines.
I don't know what the hell some of these folk think is Scott, but that's somebody I would not want in a classroom ever again.
And this was a little kid, too. Not that that matters, any kid, but he couldn't be more than 5 years old. I saw the picture in the report that your team sent us, and it just makes no sense. So therapy, terminator, you know, Monique raised a really good point about child abuse. I bet you there's a state statute that you could fit this set of facts into, and you could go to the local prosecutor and see if she could be prosecuted on top of her losing her job and her teacher's license. That makes no sense. But again, they don't see us, right? So she sees that young black kid as an animal, not as a human being, not as a child of a mother and father. So she ought to be criminally prosecuted and civilly and from a regulatory basis, everything taken from her until and just keep it moving. I mean, that's all. I mean, it's not a big debate.
Well, no, the problem here is, you know, it's not guaranteed they'll remove her from the classroom. I'm just simply saying.
There's no debate on what needs to happen.
Oh, no, I understand. Well, first of all.
There cannot be a debate on that.
Well, guess what? We've seen a whole lot of ignorant stuff from school districts before. And so hopefully there's not going to be a lot of the whole debate. And then you don't have this, well, I don't know why I did it. I mean, I was trying to teach.
There's misconduct, and then there's complete bullshit. She needs to be prosecuted. She needs to lose her license, lose her ability to have a job. Her and the school district needs to be sued because there's negligent hiring there, negligent training. I could write the lawsuit up in about a half hour.
But it's not just therapy for the one child. There needs to be a full investigation regarding any child that she's been interacted with, because nothing like this happens in a vacuum. And if something as blatant as this happened, there is no telling what the other actions, statements, aggressions have been taken against the children in this class or again in prior classes. And so that school district has to do the full extent of their job, as does the Child Welfare Services Office and the prosecutor's office.
Because she felt comfortable doing it. See, that's the other thing, Roland. She felt comfortable doing it. That's what you got to investigate, as Monique said. And if it's not feces, who knows what else is out there? Right. They're out there practicing hanging this young kid for fun.
Yeah, this isn't the first time she's done something. This is the first time she's gotten caught. And frankly, I think it would be worthwhile to spend the time and the money to interview every child she's ever taught or within a reasonable range to find out exactly what has happened and how deep this goes. As I said, someone doesn't do that something like that demented for a first time. That is, you have to check and see if she was chopping up animals in her backyard, cutting herself, checking her journal to see what kind of person this was.
Yeah, that's some sick shit, man. That's some sick shit.
Indeed, indeed. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, check this story out. You know what? Just go ahead and roll it.
No charcoal grills are allowed. I'm white. I got you, huh?
Illegally selling water without a permit on my property.
Whoa! Hey!
You don't live here. I'm uncomfortable.
So last night, someone sent me this video that circulated on social media, and I said, what the hell?
They were a bit jumbled.
Yeah.
It's the best way I can put it. It's like, okay, let me reason through that, what you just said, kind of thing. Yeah, right. Unfortunately. And you know what? I hate to say this. I end up having this, angst every semester that a lot of my lower ones are blacks. Happens almost every semester. And it's like, oh, come on. Get some really good ones, but there are also usually some that are just plain at the bottom. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel bad.
Well, this morning, Georgetown announced that particular adjunct professor was being investigated. A few hours later, they announced that Professor Sandra Sellers had been fired after she was recorded disparaging black students on a Zoom call with another professor. Video of their conversation, again, was leaked on social media by a student. And, of course, the law school initially said there would be an investigation, but, yeah, it was not long. Sellers said she told the Georgetown dean that she was going to resign. He was like, nah, you're gone. Georgetown Law School Dean Bill Traynor released an updated statement this afternoon. It said, quote, as I wrote to you last night, I'm appalled that 2 members of our faculty engaged in a conversation that included reprehensible statements concerning the evaluation of black students. I have further reviewed the incident and have now spoken to Professor Sellers and Professor Batson, giving each the opportunity to provide any additional context. I informed Professor Sellers that I was terminating her relationship with Georgetown Law effective immediately. Now, keep the statement up there. This is what is crazy about this whole deal. He says, during our conversation, she told me that she had intended to resign. As a result of my decision, Professor Sellers is no longer affiliated with Georgetown Law. Professor Batson has been placed on administrative leave pending the investigation by the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Affirmative Action, the results of which will inform our next steps. Until the completion of the investigation, Professor Batson will have no further involvement with the course in which the incident arose. We're taking significant steps to ensure that all students in this class are fairly graded without the input of Professor Sellers or Professor Batson. This is by no means the end of our work to address the many structural issues of racism affected in this painful incident, including explicit and implicit bias, bystander responsibility, and the need for more comprehensive anti-bias training. This is a matter of great concern to me. I will be writing to you soon with a range of actions and changes that we will implement to address these issues. I will also send information about a listening session to the Georgetown law student community that we plan to hold tomorrow. Greg Carr, the thing about this is, again, this is a comment taking place between two white professors. We know about it because it was on a Zoom call and it got leaked. The reality is this here. These conversations happen every single day in law schools, engineering schools, in professional schools, in law firms, in corporate America. In fact, I want to pull this up. I saw this, and it's really tied to this same story that's just very interesting in terms of just how folks roll. So a test was done, and in this test, what they did was they sent out this particular statement, if you will, and it came from. It was two different statements that went out. It was a law statement, and what was interesting about it is that they had sent out like 43 different law partners responded to it. Well, they said that it came from one of the statement came from a white student. He had the exact same name, but they said one was a Caucasian, the other one was black. Guess which one had the most negative comments and the most spelling errors? It was literally the exact same letter. And folks say, like Mike Pence and others, oh, implicit bias, systemic racism, these things just don't exist.
Roland, this is a very difficult and delicate topic. I think Professor Sellers was made a scapegoat. I think they made the wrong decision by terminating her and Professor Batson, removing him. Because when you see, the thing people have to understand about law school and the practice of law and the study of law is that at the center of that intellectual work is language. I remember after my first year in law school, when I went to Ohio State after coming from an HBCU, and, you know, I remember being told by 2 and 3Ls, second year and third year law students, that the professors knew as they were grading, and grading in law schools typically anonymous, but they said they knew who the black students were. I had a contracts professor who was a racist, and it was said nobody ever got above a C in his class. He's now dead. And I remember taking that as a personal affront, but I take it as an affront as a person who has lived his entire life deeply invested in language, in reading and thinking about these things. And so when I say this is delicate and I say they make the wrong decision, and I'll wind this up, but it's very important because this is the beginning of a conversation I think we have to have. Understand when a law professor is grading or listening, there are two things that kind of work. I'm just going to be very, very brief about this. As somebody who has taught for many years, every semester I teach a class at Howard Law School, Race, Law, and Change, which I'm very grateful for because the black students and the other students, it's not just black students at Howard Law, but the students who come to Howard Law, like many of the ones who go to North Carolina Central and Texas Southern, Miles College in Alabama, the HBCU law schools, they come because they want to be relieved of that type of white expectation. But there are two things that are happening while somebody's grading, particularly if it's anonymous grading based on sentence construction. Sometimes professors are triggered by the themes that students might emphasize. I remember moot court competitions at Ohio State where they would say the black students seem to always argue on the side of social justice, and they would downgrade. The rubric is supposed to, the rubric is all culturally determined, but they would say the choices you all make in terms of what you emphasize when you're studying a case, when you're trying to go through a statute and make an argument, they always seem to trend towards social justice. So that implicit bias is coming through in the grading. The other thing is how students construct sentences, how students put together arguments, word choice. They think they know who it is based on how that happens. So we had a 2-day thing where the Black Law Student Association, that's when I was president of BALSA, we basically held the whole faculty at Ohio State hostage over a weekend at Ohio State to flesh out this challenge of whiteness as it manifests in assessing black intellectual work. When I say this is delicate, this isn't about somebody saying, I don't like black people. This is about how intellectual work is filtered through the lens of race. And you don't get rid of that by some anti-bias training and firing 1 or 2 people, because every last member of that faculty, let me tell you, came through a system that is baked into the way they think about intellectual work. And to make very, very clear, many of those classes, they don't know the names of the people they're grading. That's how deeply baked in it is. So it ain't like she's saying, it's Tawanda Jones, I'm going to downgrade you. No, there are no names on the paper.
See,
you don't get rid of that by getting rid of her. You make her stay there, and then you put her in the middle of the room, surround her with the rest of the faculty, and say, now explain to us why you said you have a problem in this conversation when you got some black students who are first generation, second generation, they're in a property law class. You're talking about restrictive covenants. You're walking through the language of Shelley versus Kramer and Hurd versus Hodge and all that. And the student who has never been introduced to that language is trying to not only grapple with this new concept, but grapple with the fact that I didn't even learn about this until I got to this law school.
Wow.
Now, this is a delicate thing.
But Sam, I'm going to pull this up because what you just laid out, this is a perfect example. It ties right to it, and it involves law. This email went out. It says 53 partners from different law firms were asked to evaluate a young lawyer's legal memo. It was the exact same memo, except half identified the writer as black, half as white. The black writer's work was consistently seen as less competent. So watch this. The exact same memo averaged a 3.2 on a 5.0 rating under the hypothetical African-American Thomas Meyer and a 4.1 under the hypothetical Caucasian Thomas Meyer. The qualitative comments on memos consistently were also more positive for the Caucasian Thomas Meyer than our African-American Thomas Meyer. Caucasian Thomas Meyer, Reese, generally good writer but needs work on, has potential, good analytical skills. African-American Thomas Meyer needs lots of work, can't believe he went to NYU, average at best. Now, this is the one right here that jumps out. In regards to the specific errors in the memo, an average of 2.9, 7.0 spelling grammar errors were found in Caucasian Thomas Meyer's memo. African-American Thomas Meyer, 5.8. It was the same memo, Reese.
Right. And this is how the institutional racism really has deep impacts, because a lot of times when it comes to internships, a lot of times when it comes to job opportunities, it's about your ranking in your classes. And so the top ranked law students get their pick of the litter in terms of their opportunities. Whereas if you're a lower ranked student, then you're going to have to, accept less money, which has generational consequences. And so there is an actual, implication to this that's not just, oh, white people are racist, duh. Like it's actually something that can be detrimental in terms of the earning potential and the trajectory of a person's career. And if it's rooted, and with it being rooted in biases, again, as Dr. Carr laid out so expertly, it's baked in every single layer of the grading system and every single layer of how, Black students are perceived. Even if you don't even know that the person is Black, you get a Black penalty even if you're white. because if you sound like a black person, or if you're going for causes that seem like something that only a black person will care about, which is interesting that it's only that they think only black people care about these things, then there's a penalty for that. And so it's layers upon layers upon layers. It's not, like Dr. Carr said, just a matter of a conversation needs to be had. You have to address the institutional aspects of it. And again, what the end result is, a tangible result. It's a person who doesn't get the interview, a person who doesn't get the job, a person who gets offered less, a person who doesn't, that has to go into a different field perhaps. And so these are the things that, even when you look at black law students, you look at black lawyers, you look at them as, the upper echelon. They're the, some people could say talented 10th or whatever the situation may be. But even they have to deal with these institutional racist barriers that harm their careers.
Well, it cracked me up. When I saw that, I thought, Erica, when I was at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, I remember there were two of us, and it is so interesting. I'm not going to name this person. Y'all see this person on national television a lot. But we were working at the paper together. And I covered City Hall, and this person covered county government. And it was interesting because I'm white, he's black, we're about the same age. And what was interesting is that, he made far more errors than I did. We had to run numerous corrections to his work. I think probably had 3 or 4 maybe in 1 year. But it was very interesting when I watched my white bosses and I watched how they described him and described as a go-getter. Oh, he makes the mistakes because he's too eager. And I literally watched, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, y'all just gonna let that slide? Let that slide? But it was interesting then, for me, it was when the editor came to me, you need to get your production up. Really? And what was a trip with that is she didn't realize, Kay Northcott was my editor, she didn't realize that I actually kept all of my stats. And I kept them, how many days I worked per month and per week, went down the whole deal. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Joining us right now is King Randall One, founder of the X for Boys organization based out of Georgia. So, King, explain why in the world you're conservative, correct?
Yes, sir.
So please explain to me why this bill, why Republicans are pushing forth a voter suppression bill when last year we saw record turnout in Georgia, record turnout. So why would they want to restrict voting when you just had record turnout in Georgia?
Well, let me start off by saying you had me mistaken. I'm not a Republican. I do consider myself conservative.
No. Actually, I didn't say Republican. I said you're conservative.
Okay.
I said you're conservative.
Right, absolutely.
That's what I said.
Right. Yeah, I was saying that because you called me a Republican on Twitter. However, with this particular bill, I don't consider voting my particular fight. I do consider voting a asset to us and maybe something we can use as a tactic to help. But as far as us pushing voting all the way out, like voting is going to be some systemic change for the Black community, to me is not the way to go. If you look at the human anatomy of the body has its many different parts. And I do respect you guys' fight, you know, in regards to voting, but I don't consider myself fighting for the right to vote that much. Because
do you not vote?
We hadn't got anything.
Do you not vote?
Government. Yes, sir. I vote. Absolutely.
Okay, so when you say you guys' fight, first of all, there are multiple fights, there are multiple issues we can be concerned about. Voting is one of those issues. Are you not concerned that Republicans in your state are trying to restrict access to the ballot for no reason other than they are pushing the lie that Donald Trump also pushed?
Right, absolutely. I understand exactly what you're saying. However, again, that's not my fight. I believe.
No. I know. I asked you a question. Ask your question. And the question is this here. Do you believe Republicans in your state are wrong to be pushing this voter suppression bill?
Can you give me the list of things that's all on the bill? Because I know you said the voter ID.
Well, no. Here's a perfect example. This particular bill right here gets rid of no excuse absentee balloting. Republicans in Georgia passed no excuse absentee balloting 15 years ago, thinking it was going to help them. They're angry because you had people who voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and also John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock won. So they're changing the law because they're angry they lost at the ballot box. But for 14 years, it was fine until last year. Is that, again, do you consider that to be egregious on the part of Georgia Republicans? Why would they change the law because they lost? How about making a better argument for the voters?
I agree with you. I do. I agree with you. I'm not against you there. I definitely think that is an issue that I believe you guys could fight. But that, again, voting is not my issue to fight. I believe.
So what's your issue to fight?
My issue, I fight for young Black men before they die. And that's what I do in my organization. I do teach them to vote, but I don't tell them that voting is going to be the be-all, end-all.
No one says the be-all, the end-all, but it's a part of it.
But you guys promote voting like it's just going to change like the systemic outlook of the Black community. That's not where it's at. We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities.
So define do for self.
When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets. When I said Black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities, you shared the video and called me an idiot. I didn't see anything idiotic about that statement at all.
So when you say do for self, like what? Explain that.
Okay, for example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self, and I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids from juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skilled trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old. I just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia, to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self, simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young Black in America and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Teenagers went and go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're gonna go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. I can vote, sure, but nothing's gonna change in our community.
So you went to the juvenile court system. Is that not government?
Absolutely.
So when you say purchased a school, and this school is going to be what? Private school, charter school? What kind of school is it going to be?
No, it will be independently owned. This will not be funded by the government.
No, that's why I asked you. So it's going to be a private school?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a boarding school.
A boarding school. And then for the folks to be able to afford to send their kids to the boarding school, what kind of mechanisms are they using in Georgia? Their own funds? Are they using school vouchers? What are they using?
I can't hear you. Say that again for me.
I said, what mechanism are they using to send their kids there to pay for the school? Their own money, or are they utilizing vouchers from the Georgia government?
Absolutely. So for our school, we're financed completely by donors. We have many donors that have given yearly endowments to our school that will be able to pay for these students to come to our school for free. Many people believe in our mission, and we're making sure that young black men, where we live, where we don't have any rehab programs for juvenile offenders to even get out of jail and stay out of jail, we have people that believe in our mission that are trying to send children to the Extra Boys for free. We have many people that are trying to send kids to this boarding school to be able to take care of themselves. That's what I mean by doing for self. We got to simply get up and do it.
So you don't believe that government policymakers play any role whatsoever in being able to impact the lives of black boys and others in Georgia?
If we take them out of that government system, we don't have to worry about that. I keep saying.
How is that? So hold on. So here's the question. Hold up. Here's the question. Mm-hmm. How do you remove someone out of a government system when we all live in government systems?
Okay, being literal. Absolutely, we all live in a government system. Absolutely. However, you can do things to remove most government from your life.
How?
As far as trying to get yourself out of food stamps,
How?
trying to get yourself off of welfare. You got to go work. You got to get jobs. You got to get out here and go and do it.
So hold up. So I'm just curious. So if somebody doesn't have a job, are they not applying to government for unemployment benefits or insurance?
Absolutely.
So how can that person remove themselves out of government when that's what government provides?
Absolutely. Well, my thing is trying to make sure you're not allowing the government to finance your whole entire life. As long as you're giving somebody the right to feed you, you're giving them the right to starve you as well. People are living their whole lives off the government systems. It was the day the government decide, well, we're going to cut food stamps, we're going to cut this and cut that. What we going to do? We have people out here living off those systems. So I believe in teaching our people how to go survive without the government. That's my biggest thing.
But again, though, you keep saying, I'm trying to understand. You keep saying how to survive without the government. You act as if a young black boy who comes into your program will not interface with government in any way. They will interface with government still driving down the street. They will interface with government trying to get a driver's license. They will interface with government trying to get a voter ID. They will interface with government trying to apply for financial aid to go to college. So they're going to interface with government in many ways. The point I'm saying is, doesn't it make sense that black folks should be engaged in a political process to where we are impacting policy that also impacts us? Or are you saying that doesn't matter at all?
I only believe that we should breed politicians in our community that we raise ourselves. People that are funded by white Democrats, white Republicans alike. If you were funded by anybody white, I don't believe you have the best interests of our community at all. I don't care who you are. Whether you be Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff, Kelly Loeffler, or what's his name? The other guy that was running. I don't care who you are. You don't have the best interests of the black community at heart because we are not funding their campaigns fully. I believe that we have to raise our own politicians, which is what we're trying to do in our program. We are going to put them in government. Some of them want to go run for positions, but we know we bred them in our communities.
But hold on. See, not
nothing white Democrats that came and gave us and spent millions of dollars on all these ads and got folks all riled up about these guys for you to come keep black people remain a Democrat Party and the Republican Party side chick. They only come to the black community when they want our vote to get off and then disappear. We don't never see them again.
But here's the thing that's again interesting. You just offered a contradiction. You first say you want to remove people from government, but then you say you're raising them to run. So which one is it?
When I say remove from government, I'm saying keep as much government out of your life as possible.
But how are you raising people to run for office?
Say it again.
How are you then raising people to run for office if you don't want folks involved in government? So here's the deal. Okay, how about this? Okay. So the young men that you're raising up to be in government, how in the world are they going to be able to be effective when you have Republicans who are passing voter suppression laws, and then you're saying, well, that's really our issue? Aren't they making it harder for the very folks you trying to raise up to get elected?
I didn't say our issue. I said that's not my issue that I'm fighting.
But like you just said you're raising up politicians.
Again, that's for when the children, what they want to do. I'm not raising them directly just saying, oh, you got to go be a politician. No, for the kids that want to go in that area, I have mentors for them to go into that area.
But shouldn't we be fighting voter suppression laws that make it harder for them to get elected?
Mr. Roland, if you can't go get, what's the problem with black folk going to get voter ID?
No, the issue is not a voter ID.
Okay.
No, wait. Hold up. Stop. Hold up. You just said, what's the issue? If you live in rural Georgia, and you've seen the closures of driver's license offices, and you don't have transportation, then the question is, how are you then accessing it? In Texas, for instance, when Texas passed its voter ID law, they showed that 600 to 800,000 African Americans and Latinos were going to be negatively impacted by the voter ID law in Texas because of where they could go. In Texas, they said that you could not use your state-issued student ID at a state institution, but if you had a hunting license, you could. In Pennsylvania, when they passed their voter ID law, they required you to actually travel to an office to fill out a form to say you could not afford a license, an ID. You then would have to go back home, and then once they've certified that, come back. There was some 20% of elderly who couldn't do it. There are black people in Georgia who do not have birth certificates who cannot get a voter ID. So that's just one issue with the voter ID. But in Georgia, Republicans, hold up, that's just one issue. In Georgia, right now, Republicans want to make it a crime to hand out water and food if folks are waiting in line to vote. Does that make sense?
Okay, if they gonna do that, then how about before people go and vote, y'all go set up like you usually do and go hand it to them before they go get in line? It's a way around that.
You do realize there were massive lines in Georgia and other states, but again, you still dance around my question. Why legislate handing out of water and food? Why?
Well, I don't know. You got to ask them that.
No, you the conservative. You in Georgia. Hold up. These are your lawmakers, not mine. These are yours. So the question is, how much sense does it make to outlaw water and food?
I don't see why they're doing that. That's something. That's a question for me too. I don't understand why.
So do you also think it's wrong for Republicans in Georgia to restrict voting on Sundays when they're specifically targeting black people who do souls to the polls? Is that good or bad?
Well, I didn't see the law that said they're directly targeting black people, but I would assume there's definitely
who votes on Sundays?
To the polls.
More black people are participating in voting on Sunday and so to the polls. That's targeting black people. So you think that's
okay?
So you also think that's a bad idea, right?
I would think that's a bad idea, but if that push come to shove, we got to vote on another day. If we really want to vote, we got to go make it happen.
Push come to shove. What about ballot drop boxes? So, for instance, they're going to require them to be located inside of early voting locations, which means that you can only drop off your ballot when the voting location is open. If it's closed at 6 and you get off work, you can't drop it off. As opposed to right now, it's 24 hours. If you could just come by like a mailbox, drop it off. Good or bad?
That's bad. I agree. That's bad.
Okay. So that's bad.
Absolutely, I agree.
Got it. You also have, they restrict early voting buses to emergencies, meaning if you said y'all bought a school bus, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That means if you decided to say, hey, we're going to provide a public service to the people in Albany and drive them to the polls, this law says you can't do that.
That's a problem.
So, for the things I mentioned is a problem. Okay, all right. Do you also think it's a problem? It says bans outside funding of elections from nonprofit organizations. So you have governmental entities who say, hey, we can't afford X number of workers. You got nonprofits out there, nonpartisan, where people actually fund staff and things along those lines. Republicans in your state say, oh, we're going to outlaw that too.
Okay.
Good or bad?
That's a problem.
All right. So disqualifies provisional ballots cast in the wrong precinct. So let's say you weren't aware they switched the precinct and you actually voted in that precinct. This law says, sorry, forget about it. It gets thrown out.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's good or bad. It's just something you got to pay attention to.
Yeah, but you got to pay attention to. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
They set a deadline to request absentee ballots 11 days before Election Day. Why? I mean, like, what's the big deal?
You got to ask your lawmakers.
They're actually passing it, but you're a resident of the state. Aren't you concerned about the laws that these folks are passing that are going to have an impact on the people there in Albany, Georgia?
Absolutely. However, that's not my fight. We have people fighting for that, but I'm not fighting for that. I mean,
you're not fighting for it. Do you care?
Okay.
Do you care?
Yeah, I care, but I know I got people like you and other people around here fighting for our right to do that. But the body has many different parts. That's not my fight.
Gotcha. So if you're trying to move folks to change things, they're in Albany. And this is one of those things that is a part of our process, is a part of way of life, meaning you can be out there, you can have your own business, you can do for self, you can have an urban farm, you can do all those sort of different things. But if Republican lawmakers in Georgia are making it difficult for you as a citizen to be able to participate in the electoral process, should that not be contested? Should that not be fought? Yes or no?
I believe it should be fought. If we do find issue and fault with that, I definitely believe we should stand up and go fight for that. The people who do fight for that, but that's not something I fight for. Again, that's just not my fight. I know we have people here that are doing that and that are fighting for different injustices, but that's not my area of injustice. Body has different parts.
You talked about getting donations from various people. Do you think it's a part of your fight if African American businesses are not getting their fair share of city, county, and state contracts? Because if black businesses are able to actually get their fair share of taxpayer dollars with contracts, they actually can create and grow businesses and build capacity to help fund initiatives like yours. So does that matter?
Yeah, absolutely. That matters, yes.
So, but that's also tied to government. So, so would you be willing to work with folks who are petitioning government to increase the capacity of black businesses in getting state contracts?
Ask that question again for me.
Would you be willing to fight with others to grow the capacity of black businesses to get city, county, and state contracts where they are being able to build their businesses? Because in America, prior to COVID, you had 2.6 million black-owned businesses in America. 2.5 million only had one employee doing average revenue of $54,000. Because of COVID, we lost 41% of black businesses. And so does that petitioning government matter getting those contracts to you?
Absolutely. I definitely agree.
So that's something that you would also fight for?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even encouraging some of my children to start businesses, so that's something they would have to look into. Absolutely.
But wouldn't you also want to have legislators who are in office who are more likely to support that initiative versus those who are against it?
Absolutely. I definitely agree.
Which means that in order to get those folks elected, we must be able to have uninhibited access to the ballot.
Right, absolutely. But as far as seeing some of the things on the bill, as far as the feeding and stuff like that, I mean, we not slow and we don't have a learning disability. I believe some of those things we can get taken care of. We can go get IDs. We could go start a black voter IDs matter and go help people go get their IDs. I mean, these are things we could do.
Yeah, but you keep going back to ID as if that's the only issue, and that's not the only issue.
That's not the only thing. I'm just saying, like, that's one of the issues.
No, that's one.
There.
That's one. I read for you about 10 of them. That's one. So that's one particular thing right there. So, but what's interesting though is that again, government plays a role in being able to change the condition of the lives of people as well. If there are people who are restricting our access to the ballot, they're restricting our ability to be able to change the conditions of various communities. So therefore, why would we not consider that to be an important issue, just like an important issue of being able to buy a school, fund a school, and when you say do for self? Because again, the people who I hear the most who yell do for self, you know what? They get a whole lot from government.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say do for self, we can't divorce ourselves from the reality of the role that government plays.
Well, this
because
is the same
in fact,
America.
your school you bought, you have to that has to be up to code, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
That's government.
Okay.
And so we can't. So this notion of removing ourselves from government just doesn't exist because we deal with it every single day.
Well, in conservatism, we believe in less government.
No, they don't.
No government.
Hold up.
Less government.
If conservatives believe in less government, why are they passing this bill, which is more government and actually is going to cost? Hold up. This bill is going to cost. Hold up. Here's the other deal. This bill is going to cost Georgia taxpayers $30 million more to make it harder to vote. That I would think, as a fiscal conservative, that's stupid.
It is. I agree.
So if you agree with that, and if you agree that it makes no sense to limit Sunday voting, if you agree that it makes no sense banning outside funding of elections, and you agree that it makes no sense restricting early voting buses to emergencies, in your view, Republicans in Georgia should not be voting for this bill and making these changes, yes or no?
Absolutely. Considering the pros and cons, yeah, definitely. I don't believe the bill should pass. Absolutely.
Gotcha. And what do you make of black Republicans who say nothing about any of this, who frankly are silent in Georgia as this is happening?
I'm very critical of black Republicans and black conservatives when they're not addressing the issues that directly affect us. Absolutely, I don't hold my tongue on that at all. If it's an issue that's directly affecting the black community, that's hurting us, absolutely they get chastised. From Candace Owens all the way down to whoever, everybody gets chastised. From me. I believe all of us need some criticism, whatever side you on. So I definitely don't hold my tongue regardless of whatever party they consider themselves in, because I'm independent.
And so when you talk about building what you're doing there, what's the next step for that?
Oh, absolutely. All right. So right now we just purchased our school. And again, we're working with boys 11 to 17, and we're working with grades 6 through 12. We have to renovate our school right now. And after we get finished renovating our school, we're also going to start our summer program where we're going to teach 40 young men how to build 2 houses from the ground up. We're going to get Lowe's to sponsor this for us, and we're going to make that happen. So right now, we're just trying to get all our ducks in a row, get the accreditation that we need, so that way the children can use their diplomas to go to college, et cetera, and also do dual enrollment with Albany Technical College here where we are to, work in the skilled trades. Our biggest thing is trying to make sure those children who may not want to go to college also have a way to make it and to see that they can make it. So for me being young and 21 and doing these things for them, I just want to make sure that they know they can be young, black in America and still go make it happen regardless of the stereotypes they give us.
You spoke of accreditation. From who's it? From who?
We have I think it's the Georgia Accreditation Commission.
That's government.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. See, the point I'm making here is that even with the effort that you're doing, you cannot divorce yourself from government, which means that which means that for you to be even more effective, what's important is to have individuals who are in power in government who are not standing in the way of what it is that you're trying to do. In fact, they are encouraging that. The problem is when we have individuals who are blocking the very thing that you're talking about and not providing access to folks, whether it's voting, whether it's contracts, whether it's participating in this so-called American dream. That's the fundamental problem I'm talking about. So when I say we have to fight on all those fronts, we can't say I'm going to just do for self. as if I don't have to deal with this whole system. We got to make sure that there are people who are in power who are sympathetic to folk like you, but who are not trying to make what you're trying to do harder.
Right, and when I mentioned at the beginning, I said the body has a full anatomy, meaning somebody has to be the heart, somebody has to be the brain, somebody has to be your lungs. When I say I'm doing for self, I'm over here working with my children and we doing for self. You are being the lungs or the brain or what have you, and you are fighting on that end for the Black community. That's not my fight. When I said that, ain't that I don't care. It's just I got stuff I'm worrying about on this side. I like for you to worry about the voter suppression and things like that, but I'm going to worry about the children on this side, and that's what I want to do. I want to help the kids. I don't necessarily worry about what's going on in government because I know people in our communities that are going hard for that. I don't need to go hard for that because other people are going hard for that for us because they believe in what we're doing. So absolutely, I definitely appreciate everybody's fight in our community. I mean, our fight has a whole body, but I can't fight every fight. I'm going to fight the one fight that I believe in and that I'm good at.
Well, absolutely, and that's why I use the phrase, we all have lanes, and that's why it's important, though, for us to recognize that although I might be in this lane, for me, I'm in the media lane, I understand, though, that there's a difference between me leading a fight in another lane and providing support to somebody else in another lane. Mm-hmm. What I'm not going to do is diminish the reality of that or say that's not important. So what I will do is I can sit here and use what I am doing to say, hey, I can amplify what somebody else is doing, but what I'm not going to do is say that's irrelevant to what's going on, because the reality is, like even in my case in media, I own this. It's an independent media, but guess what? The federal government spends $1 billion a year on media advertising. If we're getting shut out of those dollars, then we aren't able to grow, but other media institutions are. So I can never be of the position to say, hey, I want to remove myself from government, because the reality is this: when you're born, that birth certificate is a government document. When you get immunized, that's a government document. When you get married, first of all, that high school diploma is a government document. When you get married, that's a government document. When you get divorced, that's a government document. And when you die, your death certificate is a government document. And so my point is this here: I want to make sure that we are involved in the voting process to ensure that we are electing people who have our best interest at heart and who are passing good policy to allow us to be able to do the things that you're talking about. But what I will never do is say, hey, I ain't sweating that, because that could actually make your job a hell of a lot harder. How can folks get in touch with your organization?
Absolutely. Well, my name is King Randall. You can follow me on all social media at New Emerging King on Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. And Mr. Roland, I definitely would love for us to stop with the Twitter back and forth battles. I'd actually like for you to come speak with my kids, or at least talk to them via Zoom. Because like I said, I was a fan before, but I don't really care for the going back and forth on social media. So I would love for you to speak with the kids. And also Miss Erica Savage, one of your former hosts, she's a big fan of mine. And so I definitely love for you to come talk to my kids. Absolutely.
Oh, that's not a problem. And again, when I was in Albany, I was there 3 times helping Ossoff and Warnock, trying to rally black folks there. So I had no problem being in Albany, got no problem speaking with the kids. And if I do, I'm definitely going to teach them about the power of voting and how to use it. So just let me know when you want to do that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You just let me know. We'll do a back and forth offline.
All right. No problem. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Peace out.
All right, folks. Back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
No charcoal grills are allowed. I'm white. I got you, huh?
Illegally selling water without a permit on my property.
Whoa!
Hey! Give us your right.
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
All right, y'all. A high school basketball announcer in Oklahoma. Okay, this is the live stream. All right? Happened in the playoffs there in Oklahoma. Two teams. One of them decides to take a knee. This announcer was not too particularly happy. This is what was caught on a hot mic.
Back here live after the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen. It's not? They're green and white. Oh, shit. They're kneeling? Okay. I hope Norman gets her ass kicked. Are you sure? That's Midwest City, man. Kneeling. Isn't it? Huh? Norman. Fuck them. I hope they lose. Come on, Midwest City. They're gonna kneel like that? Hell no. They even salute the flag? Some of them are. Fucking niggers.
Fucking niggers. If they're going to kneel like that, I hope they lose. Video went viral. Folks picked up on it. This is what the folks of Oklahoma released. This is their statement. Pull it up, please. We were sickened by the comments. This is the NFHS network. It's actually, they were live streaming. We were sickened by the comments made last night at the start of the NFHS network's broadcast of the OSSAA girls basketball game between Norman High School and Midwest City High School. The thoughts expressed in no way represent the NFHS network, and we are outraged that they found their way into our production. The NFHS network firmly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination, and there is no room for this in high school sports or anywhere. We sincerely apologize to the students, their families, and the entire community for having such ignorant comments expressed during the broadcast. We are aggressively investigating the incident and will ensure that any individuals responsible will have no relationship with the NFHS network moving forward. Well, that announcer released his own statement. Oh my God, this is a doozy. Y'all, pull it up. Y'all, look at this here. I, Matt Rowan, on Thursday, March 11, 2021, most regrettably made some statements that cannot be taken back. During the Norman High School girls basketball game against Midwest City, I made inappropriate and racist comments, believing that the microphone was off. However, let me state immediately that is no excuse. Such comments should have never been uttered. Oh, my Lord, y'all, it gets better. I am a family man. I am married, have 2 children, and at one time was a youth pastor. I continue to be a member of a Baptist church. I have not only embarrassed and disappointed myself, I have embarrassed and disappointed my family and my friends. Oh, y'all, it gets better. I will state that I suffer type 1 diabetes. And during the game, my sugar was spiking. while not excusing my remarks, it is not unusual when my sugar spikes that I become disoriented and often say things, y'all. Y'all think I'm lying. Y'all, this is exactly what he wrote. Often say things that are not appropriate as well as hurtful. I do not believe that I would have made such horrible statements absent my sugar spiking. I'm gonna come back and read this, but my both of my grandmothers had diabetes. My dad has diabetes. My brother has diabetes. I think my mom has diabetes. I've never seen my daddy or my grandmothers or my brother or my mama go, ooh, my sugar spiking, nigga. It's never happened.
Don't make me cry.
It's never happened. Go back to the statement. I need to read the rest of it. During this time, I was with a colleague and friend, Scott Sapulpa, whatever. Scott Sapulpa was not the one that made these comments. It was me and me alone. It is not my desire to shirk my responsibility in this matter, and I certainly do not want Scott Sapulpa to share in the blame of this most unfortunate incident. While the comments I made would certainly seem to indicate that I am racist, y'all, he literally wrote, while the comments I made would certainly seem to indicate that I am racist, I am not. I have never considered myself to be racist, and in short, cannot explain why I made these comments.
Oh my God. Oh.
Is he a member of hashtag Team Sugar on Grits? Go back to the statement, please. I offer my most sincere apologies for the inappropriate comments made and hope that I can obtain forgiveness. I specifically apologize to the Norman High School girls basketball team, their families, their coaches, and their entire school system. Additionally, I offer my apologies to OSSAA and NFHS Network. Further apologize to all involved in the situation and simply to the entire sports community. There are no other words to explain what occurred. This is something for which I must take responsibility, and I wholeheartedly accept responsibility for my words and actions. It is my sincere desire that I can obtain forgiveness for my actions and words. I have never in my life, Kieran, never in my life have I heard the diabetes defense for bigotry.
Right. Me either.
I've never heard somebody say, if only I did not have my sugar spike, I would not have burned that cross in the front yard. Ken, what say you?
So my grandfather has diabetes, and I never heard him say nothing like this when his sugar spiked. So I'm at a loss for words. I don't understand how you could blame diabetes. And he probably is Team Sugar on Grits. You should call Pastor Keen and have him sing to this man. Maybe that'll lift his spirit.
You know what? I want y'all to play this again. And Brittany, just let me know if you have the sense that this was sugar spiking. Ken, what say you?
So my grandfather has diabetes.
Y'all play the video,
like
y'all.
This when his sugar spiked. So
play the video.
I'm at a loss for words. I don't know.
We will be right back here live after the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen.
Pastor King, have him sing.
You know what? I want y'all to play this again. Why am I hearing playback? You have a sense that this is sugar spiking.
Midwest city, isn't it?
Brittany, I'm just, I hope Norman kicks their ass. I don't know what they doing. Fucking nigga, he sounded lucid. He sounded. I mean, I'm not quite understanding what was going on. Like, what was the deal?
Exactly what he was saying. He had follow-up commentary when he said, "I hope that the other team kicks their behind." He knew exactly what he was doing, and he is just reaching for every possible excuse to save his character. I mean, even the fact I am not, nor have I ever considered myself a racist. I just regularly, use racial epithets when I don't think anyone else publicly can hear me, and there's not going to be any repercussions. This man has lost his absolute mind. And quite frankly, the response by the NFHS is concerning too. We don't know how they found their way into our network. Are you doing anything to prevent these type of individuals to hold the positions that they do over the whole situation?
Michael?
Roland, I don't think he suffers from diabetes. I think he suffers from liabetes. That's what he suffers from, liabetes, because he's lying. Well, first of all, Roland, I think this is FCC regulated. The broadcast, their broadcast of the games. I think it's probably FCC regulated.
No. It was a live stream. The FCC.
It was a live stream.
The FCC only regulates over-the-air broadcasts where you have to have a license.
Over the air. Okay.
FCC,
okay.
like for instance, FCC doesn't license cable network.
Right.
They don't license this show. None of these go under FCC. Go under the FCC
okay.
at all.
Well, I was just wondering because my radio show is on the FCC regulated station.
That's a terrestrial radio station that requires an FCC license to broadcast.
Right, I understand. Now follow me where I'm going though. And when you used to do your show, when I used to guest host, you were FCC regulated. But even though this isn't, if he has a history of having low sugar and prone to say anything, why is he on the air in the first place? If he has a history of saying that, because he said sometimes when my sugar goes low, I'll say things that are crazy. But the other thing is this kind of reminds me of the whole Don Imus nappy hated H's thing, and Don Imus said that on the air and got eventually taken off the air. But were all the team members that took a knee black? Weren't there some white team members?
Could be.
Okay, I'm just wondering why he ain't called them a racial epithet for white people, just black people, because the white people took a knee possibly as well. But once again, this goes back to I call it the white national anthem. People call it the Star Spangled Banner. I call it the white national anthem because it was read by Francis Scott Key, September 14th, 1814. He was a white supremacist slave owner who thought African people were mentally inferior. So. Okay. I think he has diabetes, and I would personally, I want to have a conversation with Matt Roland or Roland. I want to ask him, why you take such offense at people taking a knee to protest against police brutality and racism? They're not protesting against the Star Spangled Banner, just like Rosa Parks didn't sit on the bus to protest against the bus. She was protesting against segregation. So why are you so offended by that?
But look. Y'all, I done heard a whole lot. I ain't never heard my diabetes and sugar spike made me say them niggas. That's never happened. I'm just like, y'all, come on, just stop it. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. Please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans Contributing $50 each for the whole year, you can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, the family of Samarian Humphrey, the young man, part of this strange, sick, demented story in Plano, Texas. They're demanding justice be served after they say he endured a hate crime at a sleepover with his classmates in Plano, Texas, which is in north of Dallas. In a viral video originally posted to Facebook, Humphrey can be seen being forced to drink a yellow substance while his white classmates from Haggard Middle School giggle and tease him. Humphrey's mother, Summer Smith, believes the drink contained urine and says her son was shot with BB guns and called racial slurs during the slumber party. Plano's Independent School District and its police department are investigating the incident. Joining us right now is Samarian Humphrey, his mom, Summer Smith, and their attorney, Kim Cole. Glad to have all three of you here. Sorry under these circumstances. First, I'll ask you, Summer, walk us through the timeline. When did this happen? Walk us through that.
The incident happened the weekend of February the 12th when they were, it was a sleepover that was supposed to be just 2 people in Samarian. So it was just supposed to be 3 people in total. And I didn't find out, though, about what happened until this past week. So when the boys took the videos, apparently the week that they were out, which they were out for an entire week for the snow week, they were sending the videos around to other people at the school.
I know it's difficult, Samarian, but for just describe when you went to this sleepover, correct?
Yes.
How many other kids were there?
There were.
The first night. So
the first night there were only, like, at all there was only 1 other kid there.
Okay, and so were there parents there? Were there other parental were there chaperones? Were there guidance, or y'all left alone?
We were left alone.
Which is also obviously problematic there. So you're at a classmate's house. Were y'all watching movies? Like, how did all of this even just happen?
So at first, the first night, it was just me and the other kid, and we were just playing video games and watching movies, and we went out to eat. But then the second night, that's when the 3 boys came over, and then at first we were just playing video games and watching movies, and then later on that night, that's when it all happened.
When did you find out, Summer, what took place?
I found out Tuesday, which was like March the 2nd. The boys so there was 3 specific boys that came over that following night that I didn't even know were going to be there. And one of those boys and Samarian got into it about his racial slurs and about these disgusting things that he said about women. And in that, he threatened him that if he told anything, they were going to jump him. I didn't know what he was saying, till what. I just knew that they were saying they were going to jump him. So I told Samarian, well, you go to school and you go straight to the principal's office. And he said to me, okay, I'm really scared. We had a conversation about it. I said, don't worry. She's going to take care of it. I'm going to take care of it if she doesn't. And when he got there, and then the principal, of course, started asking, the assistant principal, she started asking him questions. And so during that, he said that he literally just told it all. So when she called me, the first call that she made to me was just like a distraught, weird, it's a lot going on. I need to talk to some more people. I need to do some investigation, and I'll be calling you back. And I was just thinking, well, how bad could it be? I mean, I know they said they were going to jump him, but they didn't do anything. So I was confused as to what she was even referring to. And when she called me back, she was saying that it was going to be a lot involved. She was the SRO officer, which is like the school police officer, I was going to need to talk to him. But that she had all of this stuff that had happened to Samarian. And she asked him, did you want to tell mom or did you want me to tell mom? And he said, yeah, you can tell my mom. And she started telling me all of these things, and the tears just started rolling down my face because I was like, what? I'm not understanding. I need to understand what you're saying. And then to make all of it even worse, she said, and there's videos. So Samarian just started sending me like the videos that people had sent to him from, while he was in the principal's office. So that's literally when I found out.
Kim, what do you make of the school district, the investigation, the parents? Take us through any of that.
I think they are all culpable. Samarian had been bullied on numerous occasions on campus. The school district has pretty much taken a hands-off approach to this situation and just made this blanket canned statement that, oh, this happened off campus and we don't condone bullying of any sort. That's not true. There is a law, David's law, that allows them the authority, that gives them the authority to take action when there's cyberbullying. That's how Ms. Smith ended up finding this out, because the children, while they were out, while we were snowed in, these videos had been floating around the entire time. So most of the students at the school had seen these videos, and they were bullying him over the internet, making threats to him, telling him to kill himself over the internet. And that is something the school absolutely can act upon. And they have failed to do so. They also failed to act several times in the past when he reported being assaulted. There was one instance where he was hit with a belt in the locker room. One coach even withheld his inhaler. When he reported bullying to the coach, you know what, and people using the term bullying, to me, that minimizes the magnitude of these heinous acts. This far exceeds bullying. This is criminal. These are crimes. And to call it bullying, to me, minimizes what these young men did. And the school has taken no action. When Samarian reported that he was being assaulted in the locker room, the coach just blew it off. Boys will be boys. You need to get tougher skin. And nothing ever happened. And so we end up here where they end up doing the ultimate harm by forcing him to drink urine.
Can I comment on that, Roland?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I just want to say that I've had a lot of people reaching out saying stuff like, why didn't he fight back? Why? I want y'all to understand, he was asleep. He was asleep. So even in the video where he's sitting up, he wasn't coherent. They woke him up out of his sleep and said, Samarian, you stop breathing. You need to drink this. He had, even after that, he had no knowledge, because he is on medicine and he does go, like they're talking about like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And he's been asleep for a couple of hours. The other abuse was taking place in his sleep. He couldn't fight back because he was asleep. Like, how do you put your hands on a defenseless person? And then to use something that he does have like some medical issues. So to say he stopped breathing in his sleep, and then you hear, because that is his friend, or what he thought was his friend in the video, giving it to him.
Samarian, are you still being bothered by students in school?
No, sir.
Summer, Kim, what's next?
Hopefully criminal charges and jail time. Like I said, these are crimes, and given the fact that they were using racial slurs while they were committing these assaults and attacks and shooting him, this rises to the level of a hate crime. So what's next is I would like to see these white teenage boys prosecuted as if they were black boys. How about we do that?
Summer?
I'm fighting. What I want to say, I know all these people, I really just want to, I'm glad that you gave the opportunity. I hope people are tuning in, since everybody has this, I don't know, narrative that they've created in their minds, you know, coming to like try to attack me. Why was he had to sleep over in a pandemic? It was supposed to be 3 people. People go to restaurants in the pandemic, you know. So I wanted to address a couple of things. For one, I know his parents. I have spoken to his parents. Before this incident, my baby has hung out with this boy several times. I know them. He would not have gone anywhere without me knowing. And I had the text messages and everything to prove it. So this is not a case of why did you let him go with some bullies? Never, never. If he would have known that those 3 boys were going to even come by at any time, he wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have wanted to go. This is a case of this boy, and I guess on the other side, because you have to remember, he was like virtual. So he's not going to the campus at this time. So they're hanging out outside, you know, of school. They're playing games every weekend. You know, he's gone over his mom's house. This is someone that he already knew, played football with for 2 years, never tried anything ever. And I just want to be clear. I have done nothing but attempt to protect him, his life, and his sister. That's the type of mother that I am. I just want to be clear in that I am going to fight. And not just for him, for all these other babies and mothers and fathers that have reached out to me about Haggard and the things that have been done and how they sweep things under the rugs. These 3 bullies have been in multiple situations and received nothing. Stayed on the football team, stayed in their regular classes. Nothing has happened. The law will be changed. We are fighting. All the people behind my baby, we are fighting. I just want to be clear. Okay, I'm sorry. I begin upset.
No. Go ahead. Go. No, you can. No, you look. Give an opportunity. Share what you want to say. Go right ahead.
I also just want to say to the police department as well that there is a disconnect, because you try to go to the school because you think that's what you should do that because they're at school. These things are happening at school. They're supposed to be protected at school. So of course you're going to go to the school and think that your child is going to be protected. But the minute that you go to them, they say, oh, you know, there's only certain things we could do. They pick and choose, and then go to the police. You go to the police and they say, well, this is a bullying issue. The school should handle it. It is a disconnect there. That's another reason why I'm fighting. My inbox freezes up when I try to check the number of messages. My daughter started the petition on Tuesday before this even went viral, okay? Before I decided to even post it. And the reason that I decided to post it is because nobody would help me. Literally, I called lawyers. I called the news. I sent emails. I was like, this happened to my child and nobody will help me. The school said to me so many times, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. I even asked her, when you say there's nothing we can do, what exactly do you mean by that? Because there's all of these things that you can do. And when that petition reached 2,000 signatures in one night, and half of those signatures were students of PISD telling me their story, telling me about bullying that has happened, telling me that they have told administrators and nothing has been done. It is a problem. PISD has a problem. We moved here for the schools. That's it. I moved to Plano because their schools are rated A+. They are rated the 9th district out of the state of Texas. That's why I moved to Plano, because they deserve the education that they get for free. Let's be clear. That's why we're here. However, coming here, we should not be subjected to that. Never. And I'm not moving. And for everybody that's saying take him out that school, no. Well, he out that school. But PISD, no. Because they will change this. It will be changed. I promise you.
Roland, we're meeting with some legislators and working on presenting some legislation to close the gaps between the school and the police department, because somewhere things that are being reported to the school are not making it to the police department so that they can be investigated for the crimes that they are. So we are meeting with legislators and having them present some legislation to get that changed.
Well, for folks who don't know, I still own a home in the Dallas area. Some of you are absolutely right about the Plano Independent School District. It is, Plano is about 90+% white. The resources that are poured into the schools there are significant. And the reality is you're right in wanting the best education you can for your child, but also it's important that he be safe at all times, no matter as well. And so certainly we fully expect the Plano Independent School District and as well as the Plano Police to do their job there as well. So certainly keep us abreast of what's going on. Samarian, you keep your head up. I got to ask you this here. Samarian, what's the one book you're reading outside of school?
What's the one book you're reading outside of school?
Oh, one book? I'm reading The Boy at the Top of the Mountain.
All right. What is it about?
It's about this orphan who gets adopted by Hitler, and it just shows his perspective of the world and and just how he operates and just kind of how he feels about the whole situation.
All right, then. Well, the reason I ask, anytime I come up against a young man or woman, I always ask them what they're reading. I used to read 300 books a summer, so that's why I did that. And so keep excelling, keep doing well, and we'll certainly keep covering this story.
Thank you, Roland.
Thank you.
All right, well, appreciate it. Thank you so very much, folks. All right, folks, got to go to a break. First of all, real quick, let me go back to my panel. What you heard there, Julian, is a mom who wants the best for her child, and this is what we were talking about, Julian, when we have to fight for rights, fight for our issues to be addressed. This woman is saying, my son must be safe.
Absolutely. And I admire her fierceness and her tenacity. She said, I ain't moving. You know, she moved to the Plano area because they have better schools than other places in Texas. And she wants the best for her son. But the account of what happened to him is bone chilling. He's 12 and he's had to go through that. And I wonder what impact this is going to have on the way that he operates in the world later. He's got a fierce mom. He's got a great attorney. But this is not how a youth is supposed to operate in the world. They're supposed to be safe. They're supposed to be able to play. You know, it's bone chilling.
Avis, you're on mute.
Sorry. I said, yeah, it's horrible and sad to see. I am certainly hoping that she will see some justice from that school system. But it sounds like it's interesting to me. What she's finding is each side is like pointing fingers at the other side in order to not have to take any action with regards to mandating that there's accountability from this young man's abusers. You know, any other time you find that Black kids are picked up in school with resource officers or not at any time. And it's interesting that she's gone to the police and to the school system and hasn't gotten any sort of satisfaction from either one of those authority figures that's supposed to be charged with keeping her child safe.
Clemmy?
It's clear to me, Roland, that this young kid has suffered an absolutely terrible situation. And as a former state trooper, I feel that the Plano Police Department clearly let this kid down. The school district clearly let this kid down. His attack is invisible to them. in ways that only reminds me of the type of racism that existed when Black folks entered into white areas during the post-World War II period. It is a sign of how we have regressed, that this young kid's humanity was completely invisible to both the police department and to the school district.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. The relief bill includes $5 billion for the country's farmers who were struggling before the coronavirus pandemic as a result of Donald Trump's trade war. Half of that will go specifically to Black farmers. Joining us right now is John Boyd, founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. John, glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you, Roland, for having me. And thank you for being a leader for our community and just getting the word out about this for us. So we really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. How were y'all able to be successful to get this allocation, half of that going specifically to Black farmers?
Well, as you know from having your television show in the past, I talked about debt relief with you many years ago. So we've been trying to get debt relief in Congress for many, many years through the Farm Bill, through all kinds of measures rolling in, and we just couldn't get it done. And this was really a piece of Cory Booker's bigger bill, and we were able to get it in the COVID relief package. And we thought we could move this piece, it wouldn't get that much attention, but I was wrong, 10 senators put amendments out there all night long to lessen or remove the Black farmers' language out of the spending bill. I mean, so here they had nearly $2 trillion of relief money going out to the American people, and they want to pick on Black farmers, people who can't defend themselves and ridicule us in such a manner on the House floors. It's really disgusting.
There are a lot of, obviously, you get folks who are saying, oh, this is pork. But, okay, y'all were also impacted by COVID. And again, all these people can talk about how great and wonderful Donald Trump was and all these white farmers who support him. But the reality is the trade war that he instituted, which for some reason people say, oh, was successful, that caused a lot of farmers to go into bankruptcy.
Well, I'll tell you something, too, Roland. Trump took $29 billion just in relief from the China trade war. Black farmers were virtually absent, and farmers of color virtually absent from those monies. And there's always a reason why we can't get them. We wouldn't need a bill like this if USDA would treat Black farmers with dignity and respect and treat us the way that they treat, white farmers in this country. We wouldn't need a special allocation. But they refuse to change. And although we've had some successes in the past, the discriminating culture at USDA remains the same. As long as it remains the same, we're going to always have problems, And if you look at Senator Lindsey Graham's comments, Roland, where he said he thought it was reparations, and at the beginning of his statement, he said, "Oh, this this measure really bothers me, is what he said. And at the end of his statement, he said, we really need to check these people. Well, he wasn't checking black farmers when the many times I've been by his office to ask him to look at the problems at USDA, how they were discriminated against black farmers. He wasn't checking black farmers when they was tearing their applications up and refusing to lend us money and refusing even to take our applications. And he wasn't checking black farmers when we lost millions and millions of acres of land at USDA. He had 6,000, I checked out membership. He has over 6,000 black farmers in his state. So instead of ridiculing us and taking pop shots at us, why don't he do something to help his own constituents in his state, which are black farmers?
One of the things that again people don't quite understand. There's so much focus, obviously, on what's happening in cities, but the reality is there are a lot of African Americans who live in rural America. The problem is when you say rural America in this country, that becomes code for white.
That's correct. And I tell people all the time, if you want to see what the real America looks like, drive 20 minutes out of a major city, out of New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, and you'll see right now today, there are no Biden signs out, but nailed up on these barns are Trump signs. And somebody need to tell the people that the man lost. There's two Americas out here. You have the people that are supporting Donald Trump and still believe that he should be president, and then you have the other half of America, where we're moving on without him. And I've never seen them in my lifetime where rural America people are so divided. Roland, I have white farmers since Biden has been elected that have stopped talking to me. This country is totally divided, and it's divided by means of race and what's going on in the White House right now.
So let's talk about USDA. Vilsack will be the secretary of that. Y'all have been pressing them as well. And so what are your hopes for him running the department again? We are also going to make it perfectly clear that he needs to come speak to us directly, because he needs to have a relationship with black media, black-owned media.
But Secretary Vilsack definitely should come and address black media. Well, we didn't support him, and we had trouble with his with President Biden calling him back to USDA. We actually wanted the other young lady that went over to HUD to be Ag Secretary Marsha Fudge. And during the Obama years, as you know, he was slow to act and support the Black Farmers Bill, the Claims Remedy Act of 2010. He wasn't on the Hill supporting me, as you know. And Valerie Jarrett came on at the last 6 months of that bill and gave us a push and helped us over the finish line. And in my last conversation with him, Roland, I told him that he has to do better. The old Vilsack that was there during the Obama years, this is a new time. We have an agriculture chairman in the House, Scott, and we have 2 black members in the Agriculture Senate Committee, Booker and Warnock. This isn't the same, political ramifications where he was 8 years ago. And he said he would do better. But as my daddy taught me, don't watch what they say, but watch absolutely everything that they do. So we're going to be watching him and make sure that he does what he's supposed to do. And what I'm a little nervous about, Roland, is we have this $5 billion allocation, but it still has to be rolled out under the direction of the secretary, which is Secretary Tom Vilsack. So we're going to need help from people like you to help us, hold them accountable.
Well, you can bank on that happening, John Boyd. And we surely appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Keep fighting, and we'll keep. Anytime you want to chat, just give us a call. We'll make it happen.
Thank you, man. We love you, and I love this show. Thank you very much.
And I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Day one of the trial of ex-Minneapolis cop Derek Chauvin is taking place. It ended early today. Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill postponed the jury selection as prosecutors asked an appeals court to decide whether the trial should resume, while an appeal to reinstate the third-degree murder charges for Chauvin are still pending. Judge Cahill said he intends to resume the jury selection process tomorrow morning unless the Court of Appeals orders him to stop. Now, all day we have been, of course, live streaming various developments taking place out of Minneapolis on our Roland Martin Unfiltered feed. We've been streaming a protest outside of the courtroom, people there speaking up on behalf of George Floyd, of course, the black man who was murdered by Derek Chauvin when he pressed his knee up against his neck Memorial Day in 2020. Now, Chauvin, of course, is the officer got the most serious charges against him. And so we've been live streaming the scene outside. Also, folks, 1,000 National Guard troops surrounding the courthouse. What the hell is that all about? In addition, of course, you have Chauvin and his supporters as well. Joining us right now is Leslie Resman. She's the former president for the Minneapolis NAACP, also founder of Don't Complain, Activate. Leslie, glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. First and foremost, we've been making it clear to these folks in the media, this is not the George Floyd trial. This is the Derek Chauvin murder trial, the person who is charged with murdering George Floyd. George Floyd is not the one who's going to be put on trial here.
Oh, 100%. Officer Chauvin is a murderer. He's actually a serial murderer. If you ask people here in Minnesota, this is not the first case, but this is going to be the last. We are looking forward to him being not only charged, but convicted of the murder of Brother George Floyd.
One of the things that, again, happened was that the appeals court threw out they overturned the decision in throwing out third-degree murder charges against Derek Chauvin, and that's what is being appealed. And so that's what the holdup is with jury selection today.
100%. I'm very confident in Attorney General Keith Ellison and his continued push to make sure that the correct charges are brought against Officer Chauvin. Obviously, we are not happy to see it delayed at least until tomorrow, but we're looking forward to getting this trial started.
But one of the things that that we look at here is that obviously how Minneapolis responded to this. It was the murder of George Floyd has sparked national unrest all across this country. What do you make of this massive presence of National Guard troops around the courthouse?
I think it's overrated. Minneapolis spent over $1 million barricading the courthouse. I think it's important to note they're not only intentional about protecting property, but protecting a white male police officer who murdered a black male so that he could get his day to stand at trial, a day that George Floyd did not get when Officer Chauvin took law and order into his own hand and decided to murder Brother George Floyd. I think that it's always alarming to see the extent that America is willing to go to protect property and white people, quote unquote, from black people who are typically just peaceful protesters.
Obviously, and also people the family's not too happy if the judge decided only one family member can be present in the courtroom, supposedly because of COVID restrictions.
Yeah, that's also very alarming. especially because his family's coming from Houston too, right? That's important to note that many of the family members are not here in Minnesota. So to have the family fly all the way in from Houston to just have them going in one at a time, in and out, I know that they can do better than that.
Absolutely. And so we're going to be covering this every single day, and certainly all eyes are on the nation, what's happening there in Minneapolis.
Thank you.
All right, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Yeah, the Republican Party really is filled with a whole bunch of damn snowflakes. I mean, of course, they took down Neera Tanden, of course, who was nominated by Biden to be his head of Office of Management and Budget over her tweets critical of senators. You had Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, the Democrat, who was whining as well. Oh, I don't like her tweets. And the Republicans were complaining. And these are the same people who didn't say a damn thing for 4 years about all the shameful and despicable tweets of Donald Trump. Now, all of a sudden, they care about what folks tweet. The same thing happened today when they had the Senate confirmation hearing for Associate Attorney General nominee Vanita Gupta. We had her on our show many times. She's, of course, head of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. Listen to this. Yeah, I was about to go there. This idiot from Texas, who's an absolute embarrassment for those of us who are from Texas, Ted Cruz. Watch this crap.
The Department of Justice has a long history of being apolitical, of exercising fidelity to law, of not being used as a partisan weapon to target the enemies of whichever administration is in power. The Obama-Biden administration corrupted that process, and we are still dealing with the consequences. I believe appointees to the Department of Justice should have a demonstrated record of fidelity to law and impartiality, an ability to defend the rule of law. Ms. Gupta, as I look at your record is one of an extreme partisan advocate. Your record is an ideologue. Now, there's a role in our democratic and political process for ideologues, for people that are extreme, radical advocates. That role, I believe, is not being the number 3 lawyer at the Department of Justice in charge of the impartial and fair administration of justice. As I look at your record on every single issue, the positions you've advocated for are on the extreme left, and you've demonstrated an intolerance for and hostility to anyone that disagrees with the extreme left political positions. On the issue of abortion, is there any restriction whatsoever on an abortion that you believe is permissible?
Senator, first, let me begin by saying I'm sorry that you feel that way. As a lifelong civil rights advocate, my duty has been to enforce the Constitution, not enforce anyone's political agenda or partisan agenda. I have apologized today for some of the harsh rhetoric that I've used, and I mean that
And I'm not focusing on your college years. I'm focusing on as an adult and practicing lawyer. But let's just start with a substantive question. Is it permissible for the government to prohibit partial birth abortion? Yes or no?
Senator, my duty, if confirmed, will be to federal laws and the Constitution. Roe versus Wade is established precedent. and has been reaffirmed numerous times by the courts. And my duty will be to enforce the federal laws and the Constitution.
Okay, so you're declining to answer that. How about the Heller decision, which upheld the individual right to keep and bear arms, a fundamental right in the Bill of Rights? Was Heller rightly decided?
Senator, Heller is law of the land, and I will enforce Heller as.
Okay,
as
so you're not
precedent of the
answering that
Supreme
either.
Court.
All right, let's shift to a different topic. Religious liberty. You've demonstrated significant hostility to religious liberty. You have defended the Obama administration's targeting and persecuting of the Little Sisters of the Poor. Not too long ago, religious liberty was a bipartisan commitment in Congress. The Religious Freedom Restoration Act was introduced by then Representative Chuck Schumer. It passed the House unanimously. It passed the Senate 97-3 and was signed into law by President Clinton. Now, today's Democratic Party has abandoned religious liberty. Indeed, the Equality Act, of which you are a vocal supporter, that has now come out of the House of Representatives, is a radical piece of legislation that, among other things, explicitly repeals significant aspects of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act to take away our religious liberties. You have been a vocal defender of the Equality Act. Do you agree with the provisions stripping RFRA's religious liberty protections from Americans?
Senator, let me begin by saying that religious liberty is incredibly important to me. I am a person of faith. My family is one of deep and abiding faith. And this country's founding freedom was rooted in religious liberty. I have defended religious freedom throughout my career. When I was at the Justice Department, I launched an interagency effort to protect religious
Ms.
liberty.
Gupta, I appreciate that, but our time is
Senator,
limited. So if you could answer the question
it's only
I asked.
fair to allow her to complete her answer.
Mr. Chairman, I understand that she has things she wants to say, but I asked if she supports the repeal of RFRA. That's not the question.
Senator, if you want to make a speech, you may make a speech. But if
I'm
you're
asking a question. I'm asking a question, and she's
allow
giving
her
a
to
speech,
answer.
and I understand that you support her nomination, so you're giving a speech too. But I'm asking a question.
I'm asking you to allow her to answer.
She was not answering. She's welcome to answer the question. The question is, do you support the Equality Acts repealing RFRA's protections of religious liberty for Americans?
Senator, I support RFRA. I have enforced provisions of RFRA, and the Justice Department must enforce the law. The Justice Department enforces religious liberty and protects it. It also enforces our nation's anti-discrimination laws.
Let me try a
incumbent
third time. Do you support the Equality Act's repeal of RFRA's religious liberty protections?
Senator, if confirmed as Associate Attorney General, my duty will be to enforce laws to protect religious liberty and the anti-discrimination laws that the Justice Department.
Okay, so you're declining to answer
enforce.
that as well.
Actually, she did. Here's Senator Dick Durbin, who is the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, speaking about the attacks from Republicans. Watch this.
And would you like to say a few words about Senator Grassley's concern with your tweets?
Thank you, Chairman Durbin. I do not support defunding the police. I have, in fact, spent my career advocating where it's been necessary for greater resources for law enforcement in things like body-worn cameras, officer wellness and safety programs, and any number of measures. I believe that is why I today enjoy the honor of having so much law enforcement support. It would be with a great honor for me to return to the Justice Department precisely to continue to roll up my sleeves and work hand in glove and understand the current needs of law enforcement in some of the most challenging times that are presented for frontline responders. I have indeed, Senator, talked about something that I hear reflected from police officers and police chiefs, sheriffs, and civil rights activists about the fact that for too long we have placed almost all or so many of our nation's social problems at the feet of police. From everything from homelessness to mental health issues to substance use disorder. And when we speak about this, we speak about the fact that law enforcement has been dealt this burden of having to deal with all of these problems and the need for greater investment in mental health services and community-based drug treatment programs. And so when I've spoken about investments, it has been really about something that I've heard and I've talked to at length for years, long before George Floyd was killed, with law enforcement, about the need to provide them supports and to not have them be the only go-to response, holding the burden of all of these issues. And I will continue, if confirmed as Associate Attorney General, to listen to the voices of law enforcement, to continue to advocate for their resources so they can do everything they need to do to keep our communities safe and to have the trust of the communities that they serve. On the tweets, Chairman, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity, and I should say to Ranking Member Grassley and to the other members who I understand have these concerns, I understand why you have them. I take them seriously. I regret the harsh rhetoric that I have used at times in the last several years. Perhaps I think the rhetoric has gotten quite harsh over the last several years, and I have fallen prey to it, and I wish I could take it back. I can't. But what I can commit to you and ask that you do is look at my lifelong record. I have, from the early on in my career, sought out people who don't always think like me, people who have very different views, because I believe in the importance of building consensus to get things done. While I've been a lifelong idealistic civil rights lawyer, I am a deeply pragmatic person. I'm a relationship builder. I think that's why I have the trust of law enforcement today on some of the most difficult problems that we face. And I understand that the position of Associate Attorney General is a law enforcement position. It has to be strictly nonpartisan in every measure. I must represent the full equities of the American people and enforce the federal laws and Constitution free from any kind of partisan influence. I've done it before. I did it when I was at the Civil Rights Division. I've been in the Justice Department before. And I can pledge to you today that if I am confirmed, or regardless, you won't be hearing that kind of rhetoric from me. And I will look forward to working collaboratively to continuing to support the leadership of people like Ranking Member Grassley, Senator Lee on criminal justice reform measures, and other members, Senator Cornyn and others, who I've had the privilege of helping to support these bipartisan bills to get things done for the American people.
Let's go to our panel. Mustafa Santiago Ali, PhD, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA. Kayla Bethea, communication strategist, as well as Ben Dixon, host Benjamin Dixon Show podcast. Kayla, I'll start with you. I'm just really, these whiny ass Republicans. Oh my God, you said these things in tweets. Oh my God, they're so mean. We're sitting there with supreme assholes, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Tom Cotton. Okay, you got that crazy nut Kennedy from Louisiana. You got the clueless wonder himself, Lindsey Graham. 4 years of Donald Trump and all his crazy tweets, and they're whining, complaining, first about Neera Tanden's tweets, and now, oh my God, the harsh rhetoric. Let me be real clear. To any future nomination that I might get, which will never happen, I don't regret not a damn tweet. Kelly, go ahead.
And, obviously she's under oath and she is as forthcoming as possible during these hearings, and rightfully so. But deep down, I don't really think she regrets them either because, looking back on them, there was nothing that she said that was untrue. If anybody's heard about it, it is a conviction as opposed to an attack. They feel conviction based off of what they actually did and possibly a singe of guilt, so to speak. But as far as Ted Cruz, hypocrite is too kind of a word for this man. Cretin is a little bit more appropriate, but I can't think of anything that really adequately describes just how stupid and hypocritical and just anti-American this man is. He definitely has to go. And listening to him berate this woman for doing her job when not even a month ago he left to go to another country to evade doing his. Again, with the hypocrisy, again, with the stupidity and the selective listening and the selective memory, just go somewhere, but not at the Senate. You just got to go.
The whining Ben is like, oh my God, really? Really? Are we about to sit here and keep whining about tweets?
Yeah. Well, you see, Roland, for them, they have to find some kind of way to draw an equivalence, right? Because extremism to them is marching up the steps of the Capitol on January 6th and trying to overthrow the government on behalf of a white supremacist president. And so since there's no analog on the left or in the Democratic circles, they have to pretend as though these tweets are the worst thing in the world. And they also have to pretend that her policies that she's fighting for are so extreme when in actuality, they are well within the normal range of consideration in the discourse in this country. So for them, they want to set the standard to this asymmetrical fight where no matter what we do on our side, it's considered to be extreme. And no matter what they get away with on their side, they don't think anything of it.
Mustafa?
Vanita Gupta would be an excellent Associate Attorney General. She's put the work in, and that's the most important thing. She has fought for everyday people her entire career. You know, from the time she was at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, you know, she's been fighting for LGBTQ rights. She's been fighting for Black and brown folks' rights. She's been fighting voter suppression. She's been, you know, advocating and fighting for policies around economic justice and workers' rights. She's been on the right side of the issues. Ted Cruz, on the other hand, you know, if he wants to talk about tweets, you know, it's not that hard to go back and take a look at some of the things that he said over the last number of years that in themselves could be, you know, folks could very easily say these have been negative, these have been degrading, these have been this and that. That doesn't matter. The substance is about the policy and the work that you have put in as an individual. And there's no comparison between the incredible work that she has done and the lack of work that has happened from the senator from the great state of Texas.
Well, it's simple. Republicans cannot stand the likes of Vanita Gupta. They can't stand Christian Clark. But the reality is, if Democrats stand firm, they certainly are going to be confirmed. So that's what our goal is. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.